A military veteran says the Army promised to pay for his daughter's college, but after 5 deployments and 18 years of service, he feels the VA is going back on that promise. We've been digging into this issue for 4 months and getting some surprising responses. Our investigative reporter Julia Janae has the latest on their quest to resolve the debt.
The GI Bill program gives military and their families access to education benefits in exchange for that military person's promise to serve our country. After our initial story aired about a military daughter who had to repay tens of thousands of dollars in education benefits after her father's involuntary discharge, it had a lot of you talking, and responses on social media showed us she wasn't alone. Dana Kirkland on Facebook said, "I've been fighting the exact same thing for 2 years. Krista Henderson said, "No one would listen, but I did my time." And the comments go on, all from people who say a benefit they thought was guaranteed disappeared on a technicality. We all need checklists. From grocery shopping to doing taxes, they help us know we've completed what we were supposed to do.
To hear the government not have your back like you've had theirs, it's hurtful.
Jordan Bigby thought she checked off everything when she began college. She applied for education benefits through her father's GI Bill, and she waited for VA approval. We told you in November how the VA says she owes them around $50,000 and counting because her Army father was cut from service in 2015. At the same time, 40,000 other troops across the nation were being cut through a reduction in force initiative.
I wasn't able to finish at all. I was actually 2 classes away from my AA degree.
We contacted the VA through emails and phone calls. We wanted to know why Bigby was under a collection notice if the situation was beyond her control. At first, the VA seemed to agree with us. A VA spokesperson said on November 9th, they wouldn't make a veteran or their dependent repay education benefits if, number 1, the discharge was involuntary, number 2, the discharge was honorable, and number 3, it was due to a reduction in force. Those who meet this checklist are considered to have completed their service agreement.
I do believe that this can be fixed, that this can be made right.
Jordan's father, Desmond Watson, spoke to us remotely from Maryland. He's had no luck clearing his daughter's credit now 3 years later.
You want to help your children in any way that you can. You want to be able to protect them. It's frustrating.
He says he never would have voluntarily left the military. His DD-214 papers say his discharge was honorable.
They start doing this to soldiers across the board.
But the Army told us in a separate statement on December 1st, Watson wasn't discharged because of the national reduction in force.
To say that you just kicked them out just to kick them out, that's not the truth.
Could it have been a driving infraction Watson was charged with in 2010? He says the incident did put a reprimand in his file, but nothing happened for 5 years. With the VA's new answer that Watson's honorable discharge was really a firing and not a layoff, the case seemed to be closed. That is until we asked Watson to send us his personnel file, and we honed in on this document. A Department of Army Statement of Service, dated June 2015, signed by Watson's battalion commander. It lists his type of discharge as a force reduction discharge, honorable.
Now reading this, it's completely different than what they're saying.
We sent this document to the VA and the Army 3 weeks ago. We still haven't heard back.
And that's the thing with the government, you're never really going to have a direct answer.
Bigby says her own checklist is exhausted. Her financial future now depends on the government following its own checklists and policies.
It's not everyone goes through what I'm going through, but the people that are going through have no resolution.
Now, no resolution is what Jordan Bigby says has been the headline for her back and forth for 3 years with the VA. I did talk to a public information officer for the Department of the Army today, asking again what the Army was going to do about this contradiction in the paperwork and if they could explain it. He told me, again, there's nothing more that he could discuss because of privacy reasons.
I mean, Julia, the answer kind of seems pretty clear to me, but I mean, what are the other options for her?
Well, she has exhausted her appeals in this case, and since we got involved, she has been contacted by Senator Marco Rubio. His office has been talking with the Department of Army. He's actually contacted her directly, but at this point, the Army is standing by their decision. So they say because he didn't complete those last 6 months of service, they want their money back.
Interesting. Julia Janae, thank you.
Very interesting. All right.